Hi everyone, I am Archimedes, the owl. I will show you how to use ArCo ontologies for encoding or retrieving data about cultural heritage. First of all, let me introduce my friends who will be with us in this journey. Hey, it's good to see you all here. Please introduce yourselves. Oh, come on, Crystal, don't be shy.
Hi everyone, I am Crystal Palace and I am a museum. No, actually, I'm an archive. Wait, no, I'm a library. Well, actually, I have many personalities. You can think of me as a cultural institution. I handle huge data about cultural heritage and I need to organize, publish and exchange them for many different purposes. I love linked data and I want to know how ArCo can benefit my job.
Hey, I am a scientist and they call me Brains. Data is the fuel of my job. I produce them, analyze and search for them. I am an archaeologist, historian, anthropologist, computer scientist.
Hey, Brains, I think we got it, thanks. Fox, do you want to go next?
Of course. I'm Fuzzy the Fox, and I love to make a fuss over art. I'm an art critic.
I am Chirio the student. I know I'm small, but my will to learn is so big.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Rubix, the creative company. I create experiences, develop apps, games, organize events, and many other things. I need data, lots of data, accurate data, linked data.
Well, I think we are all set now and ready to start and learn about ArCo. ArCo is the knowledge graph of the Italian cultural heritage. It has millions of triples which encode facts about the cultural heritage world. For example, ArCo knows that the Last Supper was painted by Leonardo da Vinci between the years 1495 and 1498 and is housed by the Dominican convent Holy Mary of Grace in Milan. ArCo triples are expressed according to a set of networked ontologies which define the relevant concepts of the cultural heritage domain. For example, they include concepts such as author, cultural property, tangible heritage, and many others. The module ArCo is the root module. It defines the concept of cultural property, which is the most general one in ArCo. The class cultural property is here further specialized by means of a taxonomy of classes, which we can call the top-level hierarchy of ArCo. The module core contains very general concepts such as agents, role, part, and others. The module denotative description defines classes and properties that describe a cultural property according to objective observations, for example, properties that can be measured such as their material. The module context description encodes classes and properties that describe a cultural property usually from a subjective perspective. For example, here you can find concepts such as interpretations, estimates, and the like. The module location is where you find concepts related to the different types of location of cultural properties, where they are stored, exhibited, found, and so on. And the module cultural events deals with events that evolve cultural properties, such as exhibitions and festivals. Finally, the module catalog describes catalog records and their evolving process. If you want to know more about the ArCo ontology network, have a look at the episode ArCo modules. Hi, Crystal.
Hello! Today I'd like to know how to represent the relation between a bronze entitled L'Incredulità di San Tommaso, in English its title is The Incredulity of St. Thomas, and its authors.
Sure. Can you tell me more about this artwork?
Of course! The Incredulity of St. Thomas is a bronze tondo preserved at the Abbey of Chiaravalle in Milan. It depicts St. Thomas putting his hands in Jesus' wound to check that he is actually resurrected. This bronze has been attributed to multiple authors: the sculptor Cesarino da Perugia, the painter Raffaello Sanzio, and the sculptor Lorenzetto.
Very well, Crystal. Now, let's go back to the ArCo ontology network. The module that can help to represent the relation between the incredulity of St. Thomas and its authors is the context description module, Now, let's have Crystal to represent the relation between the artwork and its authors. In fact, in this module, we will find the useful concepts to describe the social, artistic, interpretative context of a cultural property. For example, the agents, the objects, the activities with which it is related, and the situations in which it is involved. So, in this module, we should find everything that we need.
Keep in mind, Archimedes, that all these authors don't have the same accreditation. For example, the attribution of Cesarino da Perugia as an author is an accredited and shared opinion, while the attribution of Lorenzetto is still dubious today. How can we solve this?
Don't worry, Crystal. What we can do is search for all the classes and properties that may interest us. We can execute a query that filters all the entities that contain author in their label, so that we find concepts that are relevant to our problem. If we look at all the concepts that are at the vicinity of those returned by the query, we might also find other relations and classes that we might need, even if they don't contain author in the label. These binary relations also facilitate the related query to query the knowledge graph. Now that we know all the classes and properties that interest us, we can take a closer look to hasAuthor property, found in the context description module. This property captures just the concept that we are looking for by allowing us to link a cultural property to its agents. I remind you that you can find the concept of cultural property in the ArCo module, and it is the most general type of the cultural property. If you are interested to learn more, watch the episode entitled The Top-Level Hierarchy of ArCo. Where does the agent concept come from? ArCo imports it from the Ontopia L0 Ontology. You can learn more about this by watching the episode ArCo Foundations. Oh, there are so many things that I want to tell you about. Anyways, back to our example. For those authors whose contribution is more accredited, we can use the has preferred author, where the ACD prefix is the prefix of the context description module.
Oh, I understand. So, the work The Incredulity of St. Thomas is an instance of the cultural property class, which is connected to the agents Lorenzetto with the object property hasAuthor, because its attribution is more discussed, and Cesarino da Perugia with the object property hasPreferred author, because its attribution is recognized as more reliable by the scientific community of reference. But there's also the designer Raffaello Sanzio, among the most respected authors. So, is he connected with hasPreferred author?
That is correct. You catch up quickly, Crystal.
But now that we have represented this artwork in the ArCo knowledge graph, how do we know that the data is correctly modeled?
That is easy. We can query again. Let me show you. Here is the query with which you can find all authors of a cultural property. As you see, the result is all three authors of the bronze. If you want to know only the preferred authors, follow me. Here you have only the preferred authors, Cesarino da Perugia and Raffaello. What do you think?
That was so cool. I'm so happy that I decided to represent my data in the ArCo knowledge graph. What you showed me so far is very good, but I have more information that I want to represent about the authorship attribution. I know the bibliography that supports the accreditation and the dates on which the authors were attributed. For example, the attribution to Cesarino was made on the basis of archival documents discussed in an essay in 1996, attribution to Lorenzetto on the basis of the field in which he worked, discussed in an essay in 2000. What can we do about this?
In this case, I think that binary relations are not enough if we want to represent this information. Let me explain what the situation is. Crystal, pay attention. Here is when the representation gets a little bit tricky, but I am sure you will keep up. In a complex domain such that of a cultural heritage, we must contextualize entities that are associated with a place, with a time interval, a causal relation, or an interpretation. These relations can be represented as situations, which we can explain in the episode ArCo Situation-Centered Modeling Approach. You can learn more about the pattern of the situation by watching the ArCo Foundations episode. As for our problem, it is necessary to use the situation authorship attribution that describes the attribution of a certain author to a cultural property. The situation includes the criterion of interpretation through the has interpretation criterion relation, the bibliography through the has bibliography relation, and the date of allocation through the at time relation. ArCo imports the class time interval from the Ontopia TIAPIT ontology. In addition, we can indicate whether the attribution is preferred because it is more accredited or not through the Boolean preferred authorship attribution relation.
Very well. I can connect two authorship attribution to the work The Incredulity of St. Thomas. The first one is the attribution of Cesaino da Perugia. It is the most accredited, so the relation preferred authorship attribution will have true value, and was made on the basis of an archive document in 1996. The bibliographic reference to support this attribution is an essay by Bartolini from 1996. The second is the attribution of Lorenzetto. In this situation, the attribution to Lorenzetto is not accredited and was made in 2000 on the basis of the cultural context, like the interpretation criterion, in which the sculptor was active. The bibliographic reference to support this attribution is another essay of Valerio Belli.
Yes, you understood it perfectly. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, thanks, but I still have some data to represent.
Tell me more about it. I am sure I can help.
In fact, the authors Cesaino da Perugia and Raffaello Sanzio participated in the creation of the bronze with different roles. Cesaino da Perugia as sculptor and Raffaello Sanzio as designer. Can we add the roles of the authors to the representation of the bronze?
I am glad you asked. In the situation of authorship attribution, it is also possible to represent the role that the author had. The role, represented by the role class, is linked to the situation through the has intervention role property. This class is imported from the Ontopia ROAPIT ontology and is defined as a concept that classifies an object.
This is not so clear to me.
Simple. The role student classifies the Ciccirio. The role cultural institute classifies...
Oh, me! It classifies me!
Yes, it does.
Great. Then I can say that the attribution of Cesaino da Perugia now also includes his role as a sculptor, while for Raffaello Sanzio we will have to create a new authorship attribution situation which will include his role as designer. And I can also say that preferred authorship attribution has as value true because Raphael is also preferred author.
Correct again. We can prove that we get the same results from the binary and the situation representation. Do you remember the queries that we did together?
Not really. Can you remind me? Oh yes, I remember now. How forgetful of me.
Don't worry. Now I can show you the new query.
I am so content that all the data that I needed to publish in the linked open data have been represented with concepts and relations, thanks to the authorship attribution pattern of the ArCo context description model.
If you want more information, here are all the prefixes and 2 papers on the ArCo knowledge graph.